Big game tonight. I've been saying for a couple weeks now, don't count the Ravens out. And then Snoop Huntley, bless him, man, in a must-have at 1-5.
It's a minute.
At 1-5, he plays the game of 2025 for him and for the Ravens. I mean, listen, the Ravens started off well and then blew it in the fourth quarter in Buffalo, and it has been just sideways since then. Injury-wise, execution-wise, Snoop Huntley and the team on defense started getting healthier, and that was a massive win for the Baltimore Ravens last week against the Chicago Bears that had only won 4 in a row. So now here comes Lamar back, and tonight they're in Miami. And what's at stake? The only thing I can just try and quantify it for you, because we all know you've just got to keep winning if you're the Baltimore Ravens. At 1-5, according to these numbers that I get from the NFL Network Research Department, the crack staff at NFL Network, the playoff percentages since 1990. Again, this is when the playoffs began to expand, and we know it's expanded even more since then. Based on the season start, if you start 1-5, you have a 2.3% chance of winning. When they beat the Bears last week to go 2-5, the Ravens improved their percentage by 4%. It's now 6.3. Right. A win tonight jacks that up to 10.4. A win the next week, because the Ravens will have a mini bye. We shall call it a mini bye before going into Minnesota. If they win that one, they go to 4-5, which jacks it up to 17%. Not too shabby for a team that once upon a time was a 2.3% chance of winning. And then after that, they visit Cleveland. They're home for the Jets. And most importantly, the two teams they will have to leapfrog to win the division. Because when you start 2-5, unless you win the whole damn rest of your games, you're not going to be a division winner. You're going to be a wild card team. Most importantly, you have your division games left. I think the best chance to make the playoffs for these Ravens will wind up being the division, even though right now the Jaguars are your 7th seed at 4-3. The Chiefs at 5-3, though, are sitting right there. They're going to take that spot at some point unless they have a division leading record, and if that happens, just another terrific team's going to be popped down. You're in dire straits right now to try and make the playoffs if you're the Ravens as a wild card team. Crazily enough, not so much in division, because at 4-3, you got a division leader, and you want to win the division. You don't want to go as a wild card. You want to host a game. And Cincinnati and Pittsburgh are the two teams you're going to have to leapfrog, and they have yet to play any of them. Yet to play any of them. And again, the NFL Network has the Jaguars in 7 and the Chiefs at 8. That might be a misprint, because at 5-3, that's a half game better than the Jaguars. But they lost to the Jaguars anyway, which could be something that comes home to roost. But bottom line is, win the division. They still can. And you asked me before, Chris, who am I taking tonight? I'm taking the Ravens. And I'm taking the Ravens. I don't know. The next time I might not take the Ravens unless they're significantly hurt. The only time I might not take the Ravens, and if they go on such a heater, maybe I consider it week 16 against the Patriots at home, depending on how the Patriots have played. But at Green Bay, week 17, that one right there. Because I like them tonight. I like them next week in Minnesota. I feel like Dr. Seuss. I like them in Cleveland. I like them against the Jets at home, because they have 3 in a row at home. They have 3 in a row on the road starting tonight, and then 3 in a row at home. And the 3-game road trip at Miami, at Minnesota, at Cleveland, this just in. None of them are currently above 500. So I like the Ravens to go on a heater right now, and it starts tonight. Of course, the Dolphins are sitting there saying, wait a minute, we just caught fire ourselves in Atlanta. And kudos to them. we'll find out if Atlanta's the up-and-down team that they are or going to put their foot in the ground with Penix and turn it around and start playing some winning football consistently. But the Dolphins just came up with a 24-point win, their largest in 2 years. They scored a season high in points and recorded a season low in points allowed. And it was the first time they've been outgained by a team by 100 or more yards and 10 or more first downs and won the turnover battle in a game since that 70-20 win against Denver in Week 3. That's the last time they've outgained a team by 100 yards, had 10 or more first downs, and won the turnover battle in a single game since that one. They beat the Broncos by 50. And at that point in time, you're thinking, oh, I am absolutely buying the Mike McDaniel Dolphins and wondering a lot about those Sean Payton Broncos, yada, yada, yada. How does that look today? Not so great. So Miami's got their next 2 games at home before they head off to Madrid to take a Commanders team that's leaking oil right now. The problem for them are the 2 home games are against the Ravens and the Bills. So they better win this one tonight. Let's put it that way. There's a bye week and then a seemingly softer part of their schedule. Although a visit to the Jets, you always throw records out when those 2 teams face one another, and that's going to be awfully cold weather games. You know, Jets at Pittsburgh on a Monday night under the lights. Good Lord. What could that weather be like in December 15th? And that's the whole conversation about them. Good news for them is they're home against Cincinnati and then Tampa before they visit New England. They got to win tonight. And I'm sure all the really hardworking folks, honestly, they really are in the NFL front office working on these international series games and have been looking so much forward to the Madrid game for various reasons. One, it's just an incredible location that I can't wait to see what an NFL game looks like. And 2, to be very honest, it's for those who spent an entire month in Ireland and the UK and then now are going to go back and have a double dip in Berlin and Madrid. I'm sure they want to go home and put their passports away. I hope for their sake that the Dolphins show up with more than 1 win at that point. Pardon me, more than 2 wins at that time. Or at least more than 1 win between now and then. A 2-8 team in Madrid taking on the Washington Commanders, who I don't know what they're going to have. That game right now, I'm genuinely concerned about the combined record of those teams. It'd still be a beautiful location. The fans are going to be lit, but that's what's at stake tonight, you know? I mean, if the Dolphins, I've got their numbers here too, in case you're wondering. At 1-6, you know the history since 1990 of how many 1-6 teams made the playoffs? It's a very simple answer. None. Zero. It's a 0% chance. Beating the Falcons jacked that up all the way to 1.4%. We're still at milk. If they win tonight at 3-6, 4.9% is their are their odds. So the Ravens have a better shot, and they have a shot at the division. The Dolphins shot at the division. See you later. That's gone. That's gone. They're going to have to most likely pack their cold weather gear for the playoffs to go to either Pittsburgh or Kansas City or Denver, or maybe they'll be lucky and have to go to the Chargers. I don't know. Would that be lucky? At least it's indoors. Could go to New England, could go to Indianapolis if they advance. I think the Colts are going to wind up the 1 seed the way that they're playing right now. But anyway, that's what's at stake. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.